let's
What's
get
up?
into it.
What's up, guys? Welcome everyone to the channel. I'm with my boy Michael Pokeos. What's up, Michael?
Hey, Brian, how are we?
It's such an honor to have you here, honestly. And before jumping in, I want to make like just a really short introduction because you actually made me start this journey. I started this journey because of you. Um, I was Yeah, I was really into Pokemon investing, and I think your channel is one of the best in YouTube for sure. So it's just such a pleasure that you're here, man.
Appreciate that, mate. Thanks for having me.
Well, I think today we will also have a Pokemon investing conversation because that's what we are both
Sounds a
into.
plan. I love talking. I love talking Pokemon
Yeah,
investing.
yeah. There's a lot of things to talk right now too because the market is absolutely crazy, and it's curious
Isn't it ever?
because
Yeah.
we have been in a really calmed journey, I would say, for the first seven sets of Scarlet and Violet. But right now, 8 and 8.5 have been absolutely insane. So
Yeah.
this is the $1 million question. But what's happening with surging sparks? I have my cases here. What's going on with surging sparks, Michael?
Oh, mate, it's old school economics, isn't it? There's no two ways around it. It's supply and demand. It's simply that. And I think you're right to touch on the point you were talking about before with that. Mm, what felt like a little bit of a lull in the Pokemon investing world. And I think a lot of us content creators noticed it as well. Maybe, our engagement or our views were down for maybe the first, at least 12 months of Scarlet and Violet. I think there was a massive hangover from Sword and Shield where everyone, thought the chase cards were so strong and the artwork, especially those alternate arts, were so amazing. And then we switched over to Scarlet and Violet. And I think, like anything, when something's new, it takes people a little bit of time to get used to it. And we're waiting on some big chase cards, I think, some big hits. And Greninja from Twilight Masquerade surprised a lot of people. And, we've seen upticks in some cards that probably deserve some credit, like, the Charizard from 151, the famous Bubble Mew from Payday and Fates. And I think it's just got on a little bit of momentum now. And then Surging Sparks set list hit, and pre-orders obviously went through the roof. And it's just a classic case of supply and demand. There's just so much demand for that set, and the supply is getting eaten up as quickly as people can get it out onto the market. So that's all it is. And it just goes to show. I'm actually about to do my next video on this, which is just all about total set value, and in particular, most of the time, total set value comes from chase cards.
Yep.
And so basically, if the set's got good chase cards, the booster box is going to perform well, or the set's going to perform well. And I think that's what we're seeing with Surging Sparks, aren't we? That set doesn't show any sign of slowing down. Doesn't look like there's much more stock around or coming anytime soon when it comes to booster boxes anyway. And they're just going to keep going up. I don't know. We can talk pricing on it a little bit more. I think it's up to what, $210 at the moment or something for a booster box.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. But that's before. I think that's. Oh my bad. I think that's before shipping and taxes. So we're talking
Mm.
like, yeah, we're talking high prices. I don't know about Australia, but I was telling Collins yesterday that in Europe we've got like 60 booster boxes in the whole market.
60.
Yeah, like you buy that, there's no booster boxes, and we're talking about like 180 for the cheapest ones, but if you buy like 10, we're talking about 250. So yeah, I mean, the market's really thin here. I feel like the print was super low. I got 4 cases. I ordered a lot of surging sparks, like a lot more than this, from different stores and distribution, and yep, we didn't get them. So I think the print run was
Yeah.
actually pretty tight. Um, I think the
Especially
Pokemon
it seems like
company.
booster boxes.
Yep, go ahead.
I was just going to say, particularly on booster boxes, and I don't know whether this is a bit of a shift from the Pokemon company, but obviously the whole idea behind a company is to make money, isn't it? And, you know, squeezing 36 booster packs inside a booster box and, wholesaling that to distributors to then pass on to stores, which can then pass on to consumers, might not be the best business model to actually capitalize on profit for them. I think we're seeing a lot more it feels like we're getting more, especially from Sword and Shield through Scarlet and Violet. We've got an increase in holiday sets, which obviously has no booster box. We're seeing increases in collection boxes, Elite Trainer boxes, and in particular Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes, which didn't exist until Chilling Reign in Sword and Shield. So I think from a business point of view, and obviously we don't sit on the board of directors or know exactly what they're doing, but maybe a booster box isn't the most profitable way for the company to distribute its packs out. Like if you can get a collection box with 6 packs inside it and wholesale at a particular price, it makes more sense maybe than doing it with 36 packs squeezed inside a box. So I don't think we're going to get the death of the booster box, but I think you're right. It seems like, even though printing's stepping up, the allocation of booster boxes seems to be a little bit more difficult for people to get their hands on. And whether that's just because the demand's so high or whether that's because the Pokemon companies realise that there's more profitable ways to make money off packs by putting them in other products like collection boxes and Elite Trainer boxes.
Yeah,
Anyone's guess, really. Like I said,
I think that makes a lot
you
of
go.
sense. I told Collins yesterday that I think that they are trying to make booster boxes more exclusive too. Like, this is the feeling I just had lately. I know that Magic, for example, have their play boxes and their collector boxes, and they don't reprint collector boxes. The print run is what it is. If it's short, it's short, and if the box goes to 1,000 in 3 months, it is what it is. Like, no one is stopping that. I don't think the Pokemon company is doing that, but I think they are trying to make at least this product kind of exclusive. And I think that's not a bad idea at all. But it makes a lot of sense what you said, that they're just throwing packs into other sealed products, which of course makes a lot of sense. Because that packs are like, they are not going to booster boxes. We know that for sure. So that has to decrease
No, I mean,
the
if you think about it, if you can, from a wholesale point of view, if you can place 36 booster packs inside 6 different collection boxes with 6 packs inside each collection box, so 36 packs, and then you can put some stickers or a promo which costs you nothing, or a little pin that costs you absolutely nothing, and you can wholesale them from a distribution point of view for, say, $20, and they'll retail at $29.99 once they finally hit shelves. 20 times 6 is $120.
yeah.
So from the grassroots section versus a booster box that you might have to give out to distributors at $80, like, it's more profit. It's just a guess. Like, I'm not saying that's exactly what they're doing, but if you're printing a certain amount of packs and you want to capitalize on those packs as much as you possibly can, particularly coming into the holiday season, it's Christmas time. Collection boxes run hot, even though us investors might not like them that much. They're great, Christmas gifts for kids, and parents will buy them up. So maybe lots of reasons we don't know about. What we do know is Nintendo and the Pokemon Company International are very, very clever at making money. So
Yeah.
much cleverer than what we are.
That's a good conversation too, because there is like some of us that say that they know exactly what they are doing, and there are
Oh, 100%.
some other content creators are just saying, "Oh no, that they're just clueless. They should have printed more." And I'm like, I don't think so, man. They've been doing this for decades.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
it's
So
extremely, extremely measured. And look, I think to some degrees they get it wrong sometimes. I think they overcorrected, during COVID with sets like Darkness Ablaze and Vivid Voltage, and I think they realise that. I think they're smarter than what we think. They realise the secondary market is also important to the primary market. Like the secondary market they sort of don't exist without each other. So, the fact that people like us are around that are buying lots of products to maybe hold later on and sell on the secondary market, yeah, that's not their primary objective. It's probably to sell to kids and people that like to play the game, but
yeah,
they would certainly know about the secondary market and care about it. Definitely.
I completely agree. I think one without the other is just useless, and we've seen that with some of the earlier Scarlet and Violet sets. I mean, my point of view is almost always in Europe because it's where I live. But some of the sets were way overprinted, and I think they learned that lesson. Paradox Reef here was way overprinted. We're talking, I bought
Yeah.
booster boxes for less than $70 here. because
Yeah, it's
no
cheap.
one wanted
Yeah.
them. Like, so guys
No.
selling like 20 boxes at 80, they couldn't sell them. And I said, well, I'll grab them all. Sure, 65 per box, whatever. Like, just take them.
Yeah.
Man, that was that was insane,
I,
and it's still a really large market. Um, we've got like hundreds of boxes of SBO4, Paradox Rift, Twilight Masquerade, Stellar Crown. Like there's hundreds of boxes of that, but there's like 60 of Surging Sparks, and on
no
all of them,
serving stuff.
like they're selling super fast at that price. I don't know, it's crazy. But you were talking about the holiday season, and now that you talk about that, how do you feel that we have Prismatic Evolutions, the next set, together with the holiday season? Because it's a hell in Europe. Like it's completely insane. The
Yeah.
demand is way more than Surging Sparks. I've never seen this in my life. Never. I actually never saw the price swing of Surging Sparks in my life because Evolving Skies didn't do that at all. And now it looks like it's even crazier with Prismatic Evolution. So what do you think
Mm.
about that?
Yeah, well, again, I think it comes down to the chase cards inside the set. Like we obviously don't have the full set list yet for Prismatic Evolutions, but we do know it's obviously a heavy EV based set. There's all evolutions in special illustration rares, and some of them I don't think look great, but others look phenomenal. And luckily enough, the Umbreon looks phenomenal. It's probably, in my opinion,
Amazing.
the nicest artwork out of all the SIRs. We've seen some other nice ones. The Roaring Moon. I really like the look of the Roaring Moon special illustration rare. The Meowth illustration rare. It's going to have some nice trainers inside there. Like it's just, and coupled with the Master Ball reverse hollow,
Yeah.
we've seen what the Japanese one looks like now, and we're just obviously waiting on English numbers like pull rates. Like obviously Japanese, it's going to be back to one per booster box, so 1 in 20 packs, just like 151 Japanese 151 was. So will it follow a similar trend in English? Like, will it be 1 per 20 packs and it's just randomly spread amongst, tins and collection boxes and elite trainer boxes, or is it going to be like 1 per elite trainer box? Time will tell. I think they're going to have to just do it randomly, like 1 in 20 packs. And I think all those things combined, the stunning, set list with the chase cards, obviously the EV based, the Master Ball, just sent people into a frenzy, hasn't it? And that coupled with
Yeah.
that time of year where people are buying gifts and presents, and us investors, I think, have been waiting, for that next Evolving Skies sort of set, and that's what everyone feels it is. But I think you got to remember though, Evolving Skies was made up of 3 sets, whereas this is just one Japanese set. So Evolving Skies had obviously I forget the other 2 names of the Japanese sets, but
Oh,
yeah, you had
I don't know them. The Dragon set, but I don't know the name.
yeah, the Dragon set and then Towering something. I'm not a massive fan of the Japanese sealed side, but yeah, it was made up of 3 sets, and one of them, of course, being a dragon-based set. So you had like dragon-based set coupled with Eevee set. It'd almost be like if we had Surging Sparks, like, the Latias and the Milotic and stuff, coupled with Prismatic Evolutions. That's,
Yeah, yeah, that would be
yeah.
insane. That would be insane.
Look, the product to have will be Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box. That thing will go absolutely bonkers. And if we get some sort of premium collection box come out, maybe mid next year or something, that'll go absolutely bonkers as well. And if you can just pick up packs and hold packs, they'll be worth good money. Like, look at what's happened with 151 booster packs. They're, what, $12 now, like a pack
Yeah, I think so. Something
already?
like that. Yeah.
That's been out 18 months. So they've over doubled in price from like retail, just a single booster pack price. So if you can get your hands on any prismatic, I think it's going to be good. But I'm also under the impression that I feel like the release will be similar to Crown Zenith. Like it's January based, holiday based set. You would think products are going to be rolled out for the rest of the year, and if we get a set that overshadows it, like I think Prismatic will very quickly overshadow Surging Sparks, and maybe that might hopefully free up some booster boxes for us. But then if we get a Ripper Team Rocket set with special illustration rares of Dark Persian or Dark Scyther or
Yeah,
Dark Dragonite, or I mean that
that
could
would be epic.
overshadow. That would overshadow Imagine Dark Gyarados, special illustration rare. Like, oh,
Nah,
just
that
that
would
could
be insane.
overshadow Prismatic. What do you
That would be
think
insane.
about? I know I'm going off topic a little bit. What do you think about the Gen 5, the Unova region, getting a remake for the cards,
Yeah,
black and white?
I was about to talk to you about that because you see now you talk about the Team Rocket set, and well, we'll go to that later. But I'm really interested on what's your 2025 plan. Like, what's
Ooh.
Pokio's 2025 plan? Before jumping into that though, I gotta say it's kind of a hot take, but I think the black and white set, maybe I'll get hate for this, but I don't think it's that important. If I'm 100% honest, like
Look, there's no resonance for me as a I don't know your exact age, but I'm about to turn 34. So I grew up obviously with the original 151 Gen 2, and I was still playing some Game Boy during Gen 3. So those have resonance with me, but Gen 5 come black and white era, not so much. So there's no real nostalgia attached to it for me. But if we get special illustration rares of things like those Gen 5 legendaries, it could give them a new top chase. I think I did a video on it. It was my last video actually on Gen 5 and what the current top hits were for Gen 5 Pokemon. And I think they could all be overtaken, those top hits, if we get some nice special illustration rares. But I'm in agreement with you a little bit. It doesn't, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't fetch my attention like Prismatic Evolutions or even Surging Sparks or 151. So
that's the thing.
it's just very left field.
I think if you drop that set like in the first half of Scarlet and Violet, sure, like it would have gotten a lot of attention because, well, let's be honest, from 1 to 4, Scarlet and Violet is nothing crazy. I like Paradox Rift, I like Paldia Evolved, but they are not super insane sets. So I think it's just the timing. Like if we get, well, we will just get Prismatic Evolutions now, which is a specialty set. Let's say we have Team Rocket after, just speculating here, but let's say we have Team Rocket after, and then we have the 156 black and white. Man, like it's really hard to compete with all the evolutions and a Team Rocket set that has been like what 25 years since the last two. Like, well, not 25 because we had Team Rocket Returns, but we're talking about like like historical thing. Like, and
Yeah, when was Team Rocket Returns?
it's
04, 05?
I think it's
05? Anyway,
I
yeah,
think
it's
it's
19,
2004,
probably
but
19 years ago.
yeah, it's 2004, I think, with the Gold
Mm.
Star Torchic. Yeah,
Yeah, you
love
had the
that
three
card.
starters. Yeah,
Love that card. I
yeah.
love that card. I'm. By the way, I'm 25. So I didn't play black and white that much either. Because
What did you grow up?
I started with Gen 3.
Yep, yep.
Everybody like all the people that watch me know that because I say that in every video. Like I'm always talking about Rayquaza and stuff.
Oh, well, that's the other thing. Like, we had a Groudon IR, but that's
Yeah,
one of the complaints I've had about Scarlet and Violet is we had so many opportunities. Like, okay, Groudon was in Paradox Rift,
Paradox
wasn't
Rift.
it? Like, why not have a supplementing card? Like, I don't know it's got to follow the meta, and it's got to follow some sort of theme, but just from a purely collecting standpoint, like, where's get Kyogre in there? Why not have a special illustration rare Groudon and Kyogre? And where's Rayquaza? Where's
Yeah.
Gen 3 had some banging Pokemon.
I heard you talk about Paradox Rift, about the Groudon on one of your videos, and you were saying like, why couldn't we just have an illustration rare Kyogre? That because it's actually on the picture, like you can see the ocean on the picture, and I was like, that's so
Yeah,
true. Imagine Paradox Rift just had a Kyogre illustration rare to fit that Groudon, and then a Rayquaza special illustration rare. That would be like a $200 box maybe, just because
yep.
that's all
Even
Paradox Rift
even
lacks. Just a big chase card.
even Paldea Evolved. Like, if you're going to have that beautiful illustration rare Magikarp, imagine if you'd asked Shinji Kanda, obviously the artist of the Magikarp, and it was the same artist of the Magneton in the Surging Sparks ETB, and obviously the famous Giratina from Lost
Yeah.
Origin. imagine asking them to do a Gyarados special illustration rare to go inside Paldea Evolved. Same thing, Paldea Evolved would be at like 250 a box by now because
Yep.
I just feel there's been a couple of little tricks missed throughout the early Scarlet and Violet sets. And the good thing is I don't think Surging Sparks maybe missed some of those tricks. Like I felt like Surging Sparks is now a return to something good and something positive. Maybe the Pikachu artwork could have been a bit different, but it's a bit like how many different scenes can you put Pikachu in?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Prismatic Evolutions, love them or hate them, those Terra Crowns, but some people argue that they wreck the artwork, but it is what it is. Like that's the gimmick, I guess, we have for Gen 9. So
Yep. I mean, that's the gimmick, but I gotta say, the special illustration rares look really good to me. Like, I was
oh
really
yeah,
worried about it.
well,
I, I was worried about it because, this crystal thing on the head is really annoying me. To be honest, I haven't even played the games, so I don't understand the mechanic there. But the Umbreon is like a crystal figure because it's like terrestrialized, and I just love it. Like I love the lighting on that card. I love the background. I may even like it more than the Evolving Skies one, and I really love that one. Like the fact that they did a Umbreon like 2 years later or 3 years later, and it's actually like competing with that card. It's not like a cheap let's sell things, like let's sell the product. It's actually a really well designed and well drawn card, and
yeah, it is.
that really got in. Like I really like that. It really grew on me, and I think the other is special illustration rares. Of course, we got some of this like really low resolution, but you can kind of see what is going on there.
Yeah, you
Um,
can see the artwork. And,
yeah, I think they overall they look pretty good, and I was expecting way worse when I knew they would be like terrestrialized, but I think they look really good. Um, so having all these sets ahead, um, what is Michael Pokio's 2025 plan?
2025 plan. That's right. I knew we were about to talk about something. So I'm in case some of your viewers haven't watched the channel, I grew up playing a lot of sports, whereas now I guess I'm getting older. All I do is play golf now. That's the only sport that I play. And the more I think about golf and the more I think about what I'm doing and technique and everything else in between, the worse I seem to play. I'm very much, if I see the ball hit the ball and just let that natural sort of ability take over, I always seem to play better. And sometimes I think it's the same in sales. Like, the more you just be yourself, see the ball, hit the ball. That's the saying we use in Australia when it comes to cricket. Probably not too many cricketers in Spain, but um, that saying I think resonates for 2025 for me. It's I'm not saying, oh, I'm dedicating this amount of money per month to this product. I think I do analyze the market a lot. So probably would have been about almost this time last year or maybe 9 or 10 months ago, I did a video about a couple of Sword and Shield boxes that were running extremely low on stock. So similar to what you mentioned about Surging Sparks, right? There's only 60 boxes on the market, and that's a really good teller. So we had down here in Australia, Fusion Strike was cheaper than what it was in the US. And, other sets like Astral Radiance were a lot cheaper than what they were in the US. And you can see supply really thinning out. So those eBay stores, like say, I'm just 200 Australian dollars, just so you know, is about what, maybe 110 euros, I think, and probably about 140 US, 200 Australian, maybe thereabouts. I'm not great with conversions
I
to
think I
euros,
think
but
euros and dollars are basically the same now because the dollar has been
oh, really?
going up. So yeah, it's basically the same.
Yeah. So they're about 100, work off about 140 US, for a Fusion Strike booster box about 9 months ago. So 200 Australian. And you could see rather than stores or sellers on eBay having 5 or 6 or 10 in stock, it was like one individual box. And once you realize that supply is really starting to thin down, what will happen is the floor of the market will move away very quickly and you start getting this real uptick in price of the booster boxes. So, rather than having to eat through 100 boxes at $200, you might only need to eat through 3 or 4 boxes, and all of a sudden the new floor of the market's $215. So one thing I'll be doing is looking for opportunities like that, and it's going to be a little bit hard in 2025 because maybe the only boxes we can look at for that scenario. So that's, towards the end of its life cycle in terms of the meta, when they'll start maybe looking at going out of rotation. There's not too many sets that we could look at like that, but maybe Paldea Evolved would be one example where it's probably it's just had its final print run. So maybe moving into 2025, yes, it could still be reprinted, but the likelihood I think will be super, super small, especially with Prismatic and Team Rocket and, Black and White, etc. And probably likely might see some reprints to, Twilight Masquerade and Surging Sparks, etc. So that's one example where I might look at making a play on. If I see Paldea Evolve boxes really starting to thin out, I might buy out the floor of the market here in Australia. If there's boxes hovering around that 200 Australian, 210, and then all of a sudden they're going to jump to 250, like that's a play if you buy out, the bottom 20 boxes on the market, for argument's sake. But that's a see the ball, hit the ball scenario. I'm not going to say I'm designating X amount of dollars, $2,000 to buying Paldea Evolved booster boxes. If I see the play there, I'll make it. And look, it worked really well for me with sets like Fusion Strike and Astral Radiance, and Lost Origin as well. That was another one. You could see the floor of the market, and we just spend a lot of money on buying Fusion Strike boxes and Lost Origin boxes at 200 Australian. And this is only 9 months ago, and already the cheapest Lost Origin and Fusion Strike booster box here in Australia now is $400. So it's a good play to double your money very quickly, and then the next step for those boxes will be similar to what we saw for Ladder Sun and Moon boxes. So if you've got a good box like Fusion Strike and Lost Origin at now 400 Australian, across the next 18 months, they're quickly going to rise to 500, 600, and it's going to go to positions like Unified Minds and Unbroken Bonds from Sun and Moon. So that's one thing I'll be looking at doing is if I recognise a set like Paldea Evolved really starting to thin out, and maybe no more reprints coming, that's a good play. You're not going to buy them at the absolute cheapest. Like I bought some Fusions. I bought some Fusion Strike boxes for 150 Australian dollars at launch because no one wanted them. It was overshadowed by Evolving Skies and Celebrations, and so buying them at 200 wasn't the cheapest you could buy them. Same with Paldea Evolved. Buying it at 200 Australian dollars isn't the cheapest I'll be able to buy it. I could have bought it cheaper at launch, but they were 160 here for a while. 165. But it's a good play that once that market thins out and there's no more coming, you don't have to worry about that risk of reprints and them dropping back down. So that's one thing. Second thing, just try and grab as much Prismatic as I can. And the rest of it will be see the ball, hit the ball. I think, pre-orders probably on some team, if they come as booster boxes, which I presume they will be, Team Rocket booster boxes. Good luck getting your hands on those. But we'll work with the powers that be down here to get as many as possible. And then, see the ball, hit the ball. How about you? What's your plan for 2025? Do you have any designated plays you want to make?
So I'm gonna be completely transparent here. Well, first of all, my strategy is kind of different. I started doing what you said. I started looking like Silver Tempest, for example. Like here in Europe, Silver Tempest was from 110 to 120 for a lot of time, and I said, okay, this is the moment I go in with Silver Tempest. I did fine because the box now is 150, and I bought like a lot of boxes from the same buyers, which I always ask kindly, like if I get a lot of boxes, if I can get like some discount, and usually people say yes because they are just making one shipment. So actually, if you buy 3 cases from someone, I completely understand that they discount something because I would do the same if I was selling. So that was my play for a while. I grabbed a lot of Silver Tempest booster boxes, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. I kind of regret it because a lot of my money went into Sword and Shield, which that's something I do not regret. But I think I went too much deep. Like I was not really optimistic about the Scarlet and Violet era. I grabbed a lot of Paradox Rift. I grabbed some Twilight Masquerade. I think I have 3 cases of Twilight Masquerade, 2 cases of Paldea Evolved. But I didn't find this set, like, let's say, Lost Origin, that I would go like really hard on it, because I was really waiting for this, well, surging sparks that actually happen for some of this like big set to drop. And what I should have done is just wait, because I was still finding deals. I was still buying Sword and Shield when I could. I think I didn't like park off enough capital to go really hard on the next sets.
In
Now,
certain sparks, yeah.
yeah, now seeing the situation with Surging Sparks, that I received like a percentage of what I ordered, I went really high on Prismatic Evolutions. So I'm gonna be completely blunt here. I asked for way more than I can pay, because I talked with the distributors, and like I know I will get like 30% of what I asked, maybe 20% of what I asked. The demand has been absolutely insane. That's a fun fact here. I was talking with a girl that's like my contact from a distributor here in Europe, and she was telling me, I got calls from random people that have businesses that wanted to buy booster bundles. So there was this Chinese guy that runs a bar asking for Surging Sparks booster bundles from distribution. And she was like, "What is going on? Like business that are not Pokemon businesses or stores are just asking for the product. I don't even understand.
Wow.
Of course, they don't sell to them, because like that would be even more insane than it is now. But
Mm.
but yeah, so my play normally now is I try to get booster boxes as cheap as possible. If it's a specialty set, I'll go for ETBs and booster bundles. That's it. I don't want any pin collection. I don't care the price. Like, I don't want that product. I don't want to carry small products, because I've done this on the past to grab Evolving Skies. I have this.
Yep.
I think they are like, I don't know if they are Europe exclusive or not, but there are these like kids collection with a rover, with a Lechong rover or an Eevee rover or something like that, and it's like Evolving Skies and Astral Radiance, just 2 packs. Now I bought
Yeah,
a
right.
bunch. I bought a bunch of that because that was a way to get cheap Evolving Skies, and I actually did really well because I bought them. I don't remember the exact price, but at a really good price. And Evolving Skies is just doing Evolving Skies things. And
Mm.
but same, like I think that the product is too small. I will have to do a lot of shippings when I sell them. I don't know. I feel like I just when like I was always looking for deals, and what I should have done is just wait for it. I've heard you tell this like 20 times in your channel, like just waiting for the good set to come out and then just going all in. And well, that's something I didn't really do at the beginning. And I feel like now I will have to, let's say, move some of my positions to go into these new era sets, which, being honest again, I don't really like. Because, I think I have like 36 or 40 boxes of Silver Tempest. And like they are performing really well. Like they did like 30% in less than a year, which is absolutely insane. Honestly, it's a really good pricing. So the bad thing here is I don't want to sell them, but I also want capital for the new sets. So
Mm.
it's like,
Mm.
it's like this
It's a
this
hard
internal
one.
conflict. It's really hard. And as you said, Sword and Shield, they're not coming around. So it's like,
No, they're only
should I
going to go
really be
one
selling?
direction.
You know?
Yeah, and that's the conundrum, isn't it? And this question gets asked a lot. Should you sell off a booster box like Lost Origin that's doubled in price, Fusion Strike that's doubled in price, Silver Tempest that's close to doubling in price, Astral Radiance, which is pretty much doubled in price? Should you take your gains from those booster boxes, sell them and go, even after fees and taxes and shipping, etc., on a set like Lost Origin or Fusion Strike, you can comfortably say after selling them that you should have doubled your initial purchase price if you bought them at a decent price. So that's the
Yeah.
big question. Should you hang on to those boxes like a Fusion Strike or a Lost Origin, or should you take the double, so to speak, take your money and run, and then move it into a more modern product like, well, if you'd got in at Surging Sparks at pre-order or the new Team Rocket booster box, should you move it into that and start again and focus on doubling your money there? That's the conundrum, because, and that's the question you hear everyone ask, is a new set like, say, the Team Rocket booster box going to go from $100 to $200 quicker than what Lost Origin will go from $220 to $440? So which one will double quicker in price? And look, I think it depends on your strategy. If that's your strategy to constantly roll over your money and enjoy it and go to the post office all the time, then
Yeah,
uh,
it's a lot of
that's
work.
fantastic. That's heaps of fun, but it's also more work. My strategy is a very different one. I always forget the show Survivor's saying, but it's something along the lines of outwit, outlast, and then ultimately out survive. Like that's people will get itchy fingers. People will open packs because they're bored and they want to
Yep.
relive some nostalgia. Maybe they've had a stressful week at work, they've argued with their missus, whatever it might be, and they just want to sit in a room and open a box of Fusion Strike or Lost Origin or Evolving Skies just to de-stress or have some fun. So people will crack them open, people will sell them. So my plan to outlast, I would rather personally hang on to Sword and Shield boxes for the long term, especially if it's a good set. Like if it's a Fusion Strike box or a Lost Origin box, even Silver Tempest, like it's got Lugia on the booster box artwork. As that booster box gets rarer, it'll become a collectible in its own right, because it's not as good a set as Lost Origin, but it's got a ripper chase card in Lugia. It's got a pretty solid trainer gallery, and it's got Lugia on the box art. But I get the conundrum. Do you sell them and move it into newer product, or do you keep it? And my take on it is, and I say this in the latest video actually, which should be coming out tonight, is Evolving Skies obviously number one, Sword and Shield, but I think long term Fusion Strike, put my money where my mouth is. Fusion Strike will be the second most expensive booster box from Sword and Shield era. Then
Yeah,
Lost Origin, then Chilling.
it's definitely competing with Lost Origin. Um, I think I like Lost Origin a bit more than Fusion Strike, but I I kind of understand that it's just maybe like a two-trick pony. It's the guillotine or
Yeah,
go bust. that's that's
yeah.
really
It does have the
that's
trainer.
scary.
It does have the trainer gallery, which obviously it gives you a bit more fun when you're opening the boxes, because you're
Yeah,
guaranteed, I think, what, two trainer galleries per booster box, or roughly.
it's
You're
something like
roughly
that.
guaranteed. So there's a bit more of a guaranteed fun factor there, whereas you could open a box of Fusion Strike and get nothing.
Yep,
A bit like Evolving Skies.
yep.
But yeah, no, I get that. I do get that argument, and that question gets asked a lot. And the conundrum, yeah, should I sell what I've got because it's doubled and move it into something new? It doesn't bother me. I don't personally. I'm lucky, and I'm in a position where I don't need to worry about rolling over old stock to be able to fund buying newer stuff.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that to be arrogant in any way, shape, or form, but that's just the lucky position I'm in. So I'm just happy to hold everything like it's a little retirement plan, I guess. It doesn't matter if I don't sell it for 20 years. If the
Yeah, yeah.
Fusion Strike booster box is $8,000, I don't know what they'll be,
Yeah,
but
we never know.
they're going to
We
be
never know.
expensive one day. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
So I think the point I was trying to make here is that I shouldn't have done that. Like I feel like I should have bought Silver Tempest, not that much. That's it. But I pretty like I stick a lot to the Rudy's plan of staying the course, and I don't think I see myself like selling like half of the Silver Tempest booster boxes to buy like I don't know Prismatic Evolutions or the Team Rocket, because that also wouldn't make sense on my plan. So what I'm
Yeah.
just saying is that, well, maybe on the future when we have these calm 6 months that we have at the beginning of the Scarlet and Violet, let's say, I'll just be like that. I'll be calm. I won't be looking for deals like, okay, this booster box for super cheap, because you know, when Temporal Forces came out, I really don't like Temporal Forces, by the way. I don't think it's a bad set, but I personally don't like it. So I said, well, when sets like this come out, like I don't want to buy them. I don't want to buy Temporal Forces. I didn't want to buy Stellar Crown. I think Stellar Crown was really like not good, honestly. Um, so I kind of said, well, these are good opportunities too to save up some money, and I don't know if it's try to exit some products, some older products. Sure, let's do it too. But the thing is, if you save money on that periods of time, I actually have more money available when the good sets come out. And I mean, it's pretty obvious that if you wait for the good set, even you're playing a short term gain or the long game like we do, well, the fact that Surging Sparks doubled in price in 2 weeks means something. Like, and of course, people are talking about a reprint and this and that, and oh, but if we get a large reprint, it will get eaten up. Maybe it takes 2 months, whatever, but it will get eaten up no matter how big the reprint is.
100%. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. Is one of the things I always think about when it comes to buying booster boxes and spending money on it is essentially ask yourself this question, like, what's going to make it memorable for people to want to buy in the future? Because eventually the only way to profit off it is to sell it. It's not a, there's no dividends that come from owning Pokemon booster boxes. It's a tangible, appreciating object, and eventually you sell it for more than what you paid for it, and you make a profit off it, and that's where your money comes from. Look, there's other plays, of course, when it comes to Pokemon investing. People buy raw singles to grade them, and there's people that bought heaps of Magikarps out to grade them and try and get tens, and there's buying individual collections and piecing them out and selling them. But if we're just talking about that sealed product and holding a booster box for a period of time, that's the question you need to ask yourself. What's going to make this set memorable in the future for people to want to buy? And then you've got to think, who's going to buy it? Really, there's probably going to be two people. There's going to be people that buy it for their collection, so they just want the sealed product in their collection. And then there's going to be people that buy it to open it on streams, YouTube, whatnot, whatever it might be, where they individually sell off the packs to buyers. So there's no cost to them really. And then, the PokeRevs of the world, the guys that
Yep.
will buy old booster boxes to open on stream and give them out. That's their income. That's their job. So they're probably the main two types of people that you're going to be selling it to. And then for someone that's a content creator opening the booster box, what's going to make that set memorable that people want to open? I mean, Evolving Skies, yeah, it's boom or bust. But if you get the boom, how good a content is that going to be in 5 years' time or 10 years' time? Moonbrion's up to like $1,300 raw. And that's why I say I think Fusion Strike will be the second most expensive set from the whole Sword and Shield era, because I think it'll be memorable. It's the only, Ghost Psychic set from Sword and Shield. Ghost Psychic sets typically perform really well. You've got a Ripper Gengar, Ripper Espeon. There's two Mews. There's a really nice Celebi, which is underrated. Maybe Lost Origin will perform a touch better than it because you've got the Trainer Gallery and you've got that Giratina artwork. But when you ask yourself, going in deep into a set, I think you should really ask yourself that. Who's going to buy it in the future or want to buy it, and what's going to make it memorable for people to want to buy it? And if you can't answer those questions, like, let's take Paradox Rift for argument's sake, which isn't a bad Pokemon card set. It's pretty good. Like, that Steelix illustration rare is a belter. The Roaring Moon special illustration rare looks good. The Groudon illustration rare looks good. But you ask yourself, what makes that set memorable? Like, who's going to want to pay big dollars for that set in the future? And the answer is, well, I don't know. Not me. So if I don't want to pay big dollars for it in the future, then you go, well, why is Surging Sparks performing so well? And you go, well, because it's memorable. It's got a $500 raw Pikachu. It's got a beautiful Latias. There's a bunch of really nice illustration rares. There's a bunch of really nice trainers inside there. It's going to be a memorable set. I think, it could well get overshadowed by, Team Rocket booster box and maybe some other sets. Maybe it'll be the third best booster box from the whole Scarlet and Violet era. But at the moment, it's number one, and it's memorable. It's going to be memorable for that reason, unless it gets overshadowed.
Yep. So just to discuss a bit what you said about Paradox Rift. Well, first of all, I want to say that the streamer thing, Collins was telling me yesterday, and I completely agree that it's so much bigger than what we think. There's like
Oh,
we just see
you're cracking
Poker
me.
App and Cool Trainer Ryan opening packs and whatever. But you go to TikTok and there are like 10,000 content creators opening packs. Maybe they have 50 viewers, but they're still making money and they're still opening packs every single day and selling it to the people. So
Yeah,
he was telling me we're not conscious about that. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars of Pokemon products getting opened every single day. And I think like we in the Pokemon investing space, myself included, we have this biased opinion that oh, maybe Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet will be really hard to increase in price because we all are holding it sealed, right? And then Surging
yeah.
Sparks comes
And
out
so
and
much has
it's
been
like,
printed.
nope. Just Surging Sparks just teach me a lesson, honestly. Because I was not worried, but I was thinking about that a lot. Like, well, a lot of people are keeping this sealed now. And then Surging Sparks just doubled in price in a week. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, never mind. I was completely
People
wrong
are
about that.
people are just people are just ripping sets like crazy at the moment, and you're right. It's those YouTubers, streaming services, places, TikTok, whatnot.
Yeah.
Hop on any of those sites, and it's like round the clock, 24/7. There is someone just constantly opening packs and selling them off to viewers, and buy this, buy that. Who's packs this? Who's packs that? Buying into box breaks, pack breaks. It's and I think we're only scratching the surface on it. I think people are monetizing themselves off just opening packs, and what a fun way rather than going into the office 9 to 5.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a fun way to earn an income, man, for
Yeah,
sure.
and I think we're only scratching the surface on it. So for us, I suppose sealed investors that have the gumption to be able to hold on and keep these sealed. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you on that point that these people that say, or us that maybe have the biased opinion where maybe we're tuning into the Pokey Investing Reddit forum, or we're watching YouTube videos of people saying, here's my, you know, 6 cases of Surging Sparks sealed. I've got 17 booster boxes of Evolving Skies, all sealed. That you think, oh, everyone's got it sealed, but
Not
it's just
true.
not the case.
Yeah.
And that it's changed so much. Like, obviously, people keep saying, "Oh, Wizards of the Coast is being reprinted." Well, it's not. It's just there was so much of that printed at the time, and so much just left in stores. There was no outlet for those products to be streamed on Whatnot or TikTok back in, the late 90s and early 2000s. It was
Yeah.
printed like crazy, and it was opened like crazy, but it was also left in the back of heaps of basements and stores and so, long story short, I don't think people need to stress about this notion that so much of it's being kept sealed, and people get itchy fingers. People sell it, people open it. There's streamers cracking it like crazy, 24/7 on so many different platforms now, monetizing themselves and their content to, all
Yeah.
right, quit their day job and do something more fun.
For sure. And addressing the what you said about Paradox Rift, I have a decent amount of booster boxes of Paradox Rift, and my logic when buying them was, well, of course, I grabbed them for basically like one third of the actual retail, which is kind of ridiculous. But apart from that, is that I was looking at these like low tier Pokemon sets, right? Like Guardians Raising, I don't know, Sun and Moon Base, like these sets that, let's be honest, are bad. They are bad sets. Crimson Invasion. Crimson Invasion collapsed when it came out. I was not around here. I won't act like I was, but I've learned that it collapsed to $60 and then it just went back up. And my logic there was like, okay, so let's say bad sets do not perform as bad in Pokemon because like long term we see that they still like 200 and something, which is honestly it's kind of impressive. Like to see like I'm a bit I'll hit a more recent set for context, but for me if someday I see like Darkness Ablaze at like $300, I would be really impressed because that set is just
Yeah,
bad. But I have the feeling it will happen at some point because a lot of people just collect the booster box, just like you on your background. You have one of each, so maybe just a lot of people just come to the hobby and the set is out of print and they say, okay, I'll buy one booster box of each and I'll have them display, or I don't know, but my logic there was okay. If these sets can like double in price of the 100 mark, and I can get what I don't consider is a bad set, but a mid-tier set for $70 to $80, man, I'm in. Because even if we're talking like, let's say Surging Sparks in 10 years is $1,000, whatever. But even if we're talking like these Paradox Rift booster boxes being like 250 in 5 to 10 years, we're talking about like a times four or something, times four, times three. Like that's still insane. And you will have to pay a lot extra for these like more successful sets. I got this for cheap, but my distributors told me like, well, if you want more Surging Sparks, you'll have to pay it, man. You have to pay 160,
Yeah,
170. I'm talking about distribution.
yeah.
Like that's crazy. That's crazy, man.
And that's the thing. You should never you should never pass up a bargain, should you? Like, unless it's a super terrible set like Emerging Powers
Wow.
or Darkness
you
Ablaze.
you hit it there.
Uh, yeah, Emerging Powers is the worst Pokemon card set ever made, but I think the top chase card's $5.50.
Yeah. Well, I think it's 14, but well, yeah, it's near mean is
Crazy.
14,
But
but yeah.
I agree. You certainly shouldn't pass up a bargain. That's for sure. And um, there's Paradox Rift isn't. Look at the depth. There's so much depth when it comes to illustration rares. Like it's not. It's in a different league to Darkness Ablaze and Guardians Rising. So I wouldn't stress about it. I think if you picked them up a good price, hold on to them, and it'll be just fine. It's not going to. It's probably like you said, not going to do the things that Surging Sparks or even
Yeah.
Twilight Masquerade will do, but it'll be fine. Who knows? It might not get a reprint. There was a massive, massive first print wave. Like there's heaps of stock around of Paradox Rift, but maybe that's one they overcorrected with a little bit on, and it won't get reprinted. Like we know we're up to Obsidian Flames just getting a reprint. So we've had S&V Base had a reprint, Powder's had a reprint, Obsidian's had a reprint. Maybe they'll leave Paradox alone because what's the point if there's still plenty of it sitting around and it's not quite moving?
Yeah. I don't think it wouldn't be smart, honestly, to print Paradox Rift.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, but
Yeah,
we
you
never
never
know,
know.
do we?
Yeah, we never know. Well,
I'll just
Michael,
have to tell you, mate, my battery's down to 19%, so
yeah,
I
no
only have
problem.
about another
I
5
was about
minutes
to end
left
it
in
right
me.
here. I want to thank you so much for coming around. It was a pleasure talking to you. Um,
Yeah, likewise, mate. Nice to put a face to the name and
yeah,
have a bit of a chat in person.
sure. So thank you so much for coming. Maybe we'll talk some other day. Who knows? Um, it's always fun to talk about Pokemon investing. I could do this for hours, so I'm always up to. And yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, mate. I'll let you get some rest.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. And we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah,
Bye bye.
see you, mate.